You currently playing with on tour?
I'm using the Dunlop Biomimetic 300 Tour.
So I'm here with Tim Smyczek at the W Hotel in Manhattan. We're going to talk about his equipment today. Tim, what are you currently playing with on tour?
I'm using the Dunlop Biomimetic 300 Tour.
And I mean, do you do any customizations to your racket?
Yeah, I add some weight to it, change the balance a little bit, and change up the shape of the grip. I've got a grip that's especially fit to my hand, and been using it for a long time. I like it a lot.
Oh, so you have a custom grip. And was there like a process that you went through to find the grip that was best for your hand? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, I tried out a bunch of different shapes and just basically took bits and pieces of a couple different models, and felt good when I held it in my hand, and that's what I you know narrowed it down between a couple different options, and I've been using it for 6-7 years now.
Oh, so it's actually custom fitted to your hand.
Yeah, that's right.
What would you say your grip size is? I mean, I've heard on tour that a lot of players are going smaller. Are you going with that trend, or are you kind of going against it? Or
I haven't changed my grip size for a long time. I know some guys are going a little smaller. Mine's probably somewhere around a 4.5. So it's yeah. I guess I'm not going with the trend right now.
so I'm looking at your racket right now, and I see just tons of lead tape on the 3 and 9 o'clock locations. I mean, do you notice a sizable difference playing with the racket without lead tape versus with it on? And if so, like, how does that affect how your racket plays?
Well, I like to not have to swing at the ball too hard, so I add a lot of weight. I think it's just a matter of personal preference. I know that some guys use a racket that is really light, and they like to get a lot of racket head speed and swing really hard at the ball. That's just not really for me right now, so I use a little more weight, and I think it's just a matter of personal preference. So I've found a weight and balance that I like, and I'm sticking with it.
Do you notice any particular shot that's really affected by the added weight? I mean, do some shots respond differently than others?
Um, yeah, I think maybe with less weight, you get a little more spin. With more weight, maybe get a little more power, get the ball to go through the court more. So I was looking, for a little help and a little added power in my shots. So that's what we've accomplished with that.
Makes you, what's your current weight on your racket?
Somewhere around 370 grams.
Have you always you had a really successful junior career. Have you going back to your junior days where you're using a really heavy racket, or is that something that developed when you're on the pro tour?
I was actually using a little bit heavier racket when I was a junior, but a couple years into my pro career, I switched to a half-inch longer racket, and then I went down in weight just a little bit.
Oh, I see. And with your string, what are you stringing with currently?
I use gut in the mains and Babolat RPM in the crosses.
What brand gut do you use?
It's also Babolat. Yeah.
And which brand of Babolat?
It's called Tonic Gut. It's the 15 light gauge. It's a little bit thicker than what most guys use, but I find that it helps. I still get a lot of feel, but it also is a little bit deader than the thinner guts. So it helps me, bring the ball down more in the court.
Oh, really? So you're not using the VS gut like some of the other players. You use the Tonic, which is actually slightly cheaper, right?
Yeah. Lucky for me, yeah. It just so happens that I like it better, so it works out.
You say it deadens your shots, and could you explain more what you mean by that?
Yeah. With some of the thinner guts or thinner strings in general, the ball can fly a little bit more, and so this is the combination that I've found that I like, and it allows me to, what I found personally is get a little bit, still get spin on the ball, but also not have the ball fly through the air too much, and I can get a lot of topspin so I can bring the ball down late in the court.
So it's kind of a compromise between playing with like all RPM or all gut.
Right, right, yeah. By using the 15 gauge gut, I still get the feel of natural gut, but I also don't get too terribly much power.
I'm looking at your dampener on your racket. I mean, is there a special way that you tie your rubber band on there, right? Or is it just helter skelter?
Yeah, no, I cut a rubber band in half and tie it on there. I just have found that it's kind of what I like. It's another personal preference thing.
And going back through your playing career, how long have you used Dunlop rackets, and what were you using before then?
I think I've used Dunlop for about four, maybe 5 years now. Before that, I was using a head racket, and when I switched from head, really the only racket I tried was Dunlop, and I knew I liked it right away. So I didn't need to search any further. I found that these 300 tours are great for my game, and haven't varied too much from them.
Talk about the conditions at the Open this week. Do you notice a difference in court speed compared to years past, or how the balls are moving, or how would you say conditions are playing?
I think over the years the courts have gotten a little bit slower. I know, several years ago the Open was always really fast, so it's still a little quicker than some of the courts that we play on during the summer series, and the balls are pretty light, kind of really fly through the air a lot, and so the conditions are quicker than most tournaments, but still a little slower than years past.
And this week at the Open, were you adjusting your equipment any to fit those conditions, and if so, like how?
Yeah, I just went up a couple pounds in tension.
Oh, I see. And do you have a go-to stringer, or do you use the tournament location?
Yeah, I just use the tournament, and I think they're pretty good about whichever stringer does my racket first, and they'll stick with that person throughout the week. So it just stayed real consistent.
How many rackets would you say you go through in the course of a match?
Well, I personally don't break too many strings, so for a best of 5 set match, I won't go through more than 3 rackets or so, and those are not from breaking strings either. It's just maybe you get new balls and want a fresher string job. So yeah, for me, 3 or 4 rackets tops.
It's not like you're switching your racket at regular intervals. It's just kind of when you feel like.
Yeah. I'm not. Some of the top guys will switch every ball change, which I don't feel the need to do that. It's kind of just maybe I feel maybe a little drop in tension, or maybe it suddenly gets a little hotter, or a drop in temperature or something like that. Just kind of play it by ear.
Well, thanks so much, Tim.